Will everyone please silence their cell phones? Thank you for being with me this evening. My name is Susan Egan, and tonight I'm going to present you with Don't Bully My Breed, the American Pit Bull. The American Pit Bull is a wonderful dog known for its strength, loyalty, and intelligence. It has been demonized over the recent months and years as being dangerous, as thought to be the most dangerous breed in American society. Pit bulls are not as vicious and as cruel as the media makes them out to be. The media actually embellishes dog bites committed by pit bulls in order to gain more hype. Pit bulls are targets of human abuse more than any other breed. Did you know that several breeds can be mistaken for pit bulls, including the bull mastiff and the boxer? It's a shame that the media portrays pit bulls with such a warped image. Reports on canine attacks are not uncommon, but the majority of them are on pit bulls. Most of the things you've heard about pit bulls are myths. By a show of hands, have any of you ever heard that pit bulls have lockjaw? This is a myth. A study done by the University of Georgia states that there is no mechanism in a pit bull's mouth or anatomy that they have lockjaw. If they did in fact have lockjaw, they could not be domesticated animals. Has anybody ever heard by a show of hands that pit bulls turn on their owners, or that if they are in a fight that they fight to the death? This is also a myth. Healthy pit bulls with a stable temperament are successful all over America. Dogs that bite people are typically dogs that are neglected, abused, have improper handling, lack of socialization, and lack of training. Another myth that you may have heard is that they are not good with children. Has anybody heard this by a show of hands? This is also a myth. Most pit bulls are excellent with children. They have a natural affinity for them, and they have a loving nature. When they are well socialized and well raised, they have the perfect breed to tolerate the rough and tumble play of children, especially toddlers. Pit bulls are extremely tolerant of children. However, it is very important that all parents teach their children how to interact and treat all breeds of dogs, including the pit bull. Pit bulls were not always viewed negatively. They once stood for the American military. Two of my examples that I have tonight is Stubby, who was a decorated World War I war dog. He has earned several medals and was honored at the White House. He would alert the soldiers of artillery attacks, gas attacks, and he would help find wounded soldiers who were in need of help. Popsicle, here on the right side, he was actually named because he was found in a freezer. He had one of the largest recorded single drug finds in Texas, where he sniffed out and found 1.5 tons of cocaine that was taped to the undercarriage of a pineapple truck. I want to give you a few statistics here. Over 350 people drown in their own bathtub per year. You are 150 times more likely to die in your own bathtub or to be killed by your own bathtub than you are a pit bull. Over 2,000 children are killed every year due to abuse and neglect from their guardian and or their parents. Children are 800 times more likely to be killed by a caregiver than they are a pit bull. An estimated 5 million dogs are killed in shelters every year. Since in many places, pit bulls make up 30 to 50% of the population in shelters, and they're less likely to be considered for adoption or placement in a home, guessing that 25% of those dogs are killed is a reasonable estimate. Therefore, it can be assumed that perhaps 1.25 million pit bulls are killed every year. And the staggering results of that is that pit bulls are 500,000 times more likely to be killed by a human than a human is to be killed by a pit bull. Why do people practice why do people not practice verbal responsibility with dogs? As we all know, dogs don't have their own voice. They cannot speak to defend their nature. or the prejudice against them that will keep them safe, so people get away with it. Verbal violence is the cheapest and the easiest form of violence. So, with that being said, verbal violence against pit bulls needs to stop. It's one aspect that keeps the dog in the breed in a perpetual state of being the bad dog. So I challenge each and every one of you, do your research on a pit bull. Disregard any negative comments that you may hear from others or from the media without doing your research, and volunteer at a shelter where pit bulls are more prominent. And despite the bad rap that they have, in my opinion, when a pit bull, or any other breed of dog for that matter, is well trained, socialized, well bred, they can be the most intelligent, loyal, caring, gentle dogs imaginable. Do y'all have any questions for me?
What made you want to do your paper on this?
I've actually started doing some research on pit bulls, and I'm looking to get another dog. And I think that a pit bull is one that is not adopted enough because of the bad media coverage that they get, and it's something that I really want to do, is adopt a pit bull. Yes, sir.
Have you ever actually owned a pit bull?
I have not actually ever owned a pit bull, but again, in doing this research for this speech, it's definitely a breed that I would look into. I have, however, had some experience with pit bulls. Some of my friends have pit bulls, and the really odd thing is, to be completely honest, I've been bit by 2 dogs my entire life, and the very first one was a pit bull. However, he was, and that is also another thing, that's a good question to ask. A lot of pit bulls and other dogs, you know, if they're chained, if they're neglected, things like that, they can have a bad temperament, and that is exactly the type of dog that I got bit by when I was younger. Any more questions? Thank you all for coming. I appreciate your time.